Alrighty, so here's a book I've had for a long, long time. Uh, Kill or Get Killed by Colonel Rex Applegate. This book was recommended to me by my former HAP keto instructor, a guy named Bill Wolf, who, this was like in the early 90s, who was, you know, anyway, he was really into this thing called Defendo, which was basically made by this guy, Colonel Rex Applegate, and another fellow, William Fairburn, who made a book called Get Tough that I also have, that I've previously reviewed on my channel. Anyway, no mystery what this book is about. Kill or get killed, you know? Basically how to conduct yourself on the battlefield, probably not today's military, but who knows? What do I know? I'm no military kind of guy. But, kill or get killed. Riot control techniques, manhandling, and close combat for police and the military. So, not a lot of poetry in this book. There's a picture of him. Big smile on the face of, Colonel Rex Applegate. Colonel Rex Applegate is universally recognized as one of the foremost authorities on close combat with or without weapons. His 3 books are used worldwide by military and police. Kill or Get Killed is the best-selling book on close combat in history. Riot control and scouting and patrolling are acclaimed as the basic texts on the subject. Yep. His other books: Combat Use of the Double-Edged Fighting Knife, Riot Control, Material and Techniques, Scouting and Patrolling, Ground Reconnaissance, Principles and Training. So that gives you an idea of what the book is about. Yeah. Kill or Get Killed. With the bombing of Pearl Harbor, war burst upon an unprepared America. Our young men, wrenched from a world where fair play was the code by which all games were conducted, were faced with a foe trained to ruthless killing. They had to be taught to be tougher, meaner, and more efficient, and more merciless than the enemy if this country was to survive. So, again, that gives you an idea what this book is about. It's not really sportive combat, you know what I mean? It's not about translating something from judo or jiu-jitsu or boxing or what have you. Because sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, it doesn't really translate, Sometimes, even in mixed martial arts, sometimes the most effective stuff, like eye gouging and groin kicks, sometimes those things are immediately, made illegal. Because they're the most effective. And if they weren't illegal, everyone would just do that. And would you want to watch a UFC where everyone's just poking each other in the eye and kicking each other in the groin? I might actually watch that. But you get my point, though, right? A truly no-rules fight is different than, any sort of sport of combat that people engage in. Even if it's mixed martial arts, even headbutting isn't allowed in the UFC, because it works. So anyway, this book is about what works, and enough of my tirade. Human life is precious. To guard it and to permit the individual to enjoy various rights and privileges, society has established rules of human behavior and has organized itself against unlawful violence. Police provide protection against individual criminals or gangster groups, and mob violence. Military forces guard against organized armed aggression. The presence of peace enforcement officers is a deterrent to the criminally inclined individual. Similarly, peace-loving nations such as our own find it necessary to maintain armed forces to deter aggressor nations. Both our communities and our nation seek to preserve the domestic tranquility and international peace. Sometimes, in spite of these efforts, the peace is broken, and a war must be fought to defend our homes, our way of life, or our peace-loving neighbors, and to restore peace. In our communities, we must always maintain law and order. War is a brutal business, whether it be war against an enemy or war against the criminal who strikes from within. What does that mean? Criminal who strikes from within? Whatever. I guess within your borders. Anyway, and personal combat at close quarters is its most brutal aspect. Anyway, personal combat conforms to no set of conduct, of rules or conduct. As the fighting in Korea so plainly proved, were we, the United States, the choosers, it would not blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you'll see what I mean as I get on in the book, right? And bear in mind also, self-defense, there's a big difference between self-defense and this, which is a guide about how to, kill somebody on the battlefield. Self-defense is defense. People ask me, hey Jeff, what's the best martial art for self-defense? And I say it's triathlon. You run away, you ride your bike, you swim. Although I guess in triathlon it's swimming first, but that would also work. Something that pulls a knife on you and you just jump in a river and swim away. Whatever. You know what actually is probably the best in terms of self-defense? There's a thing called competitive tag, where it's just about staying away from, and you gotta tag him, whatever. Offensive unarmed combat. See, first thing, groin blow. Is this allowed in in any martial art you know of? No. Why? Because it works. Knee a dude in the groin. That changes his mind about whether he wants to mess with you, Look at this one. Second thing, eye gouge. Why? Because it works. But bear in mind, do you want to gouge somebody's eye? If your uncle's giving you some sass at the family barbecue, he's had a few too many, few too many spritzers or whatever. Boom! Thumb in the eye, Uncle Willie. Windpipe blow. See? Again. Not allowed in the MMA. Nape of the neck blow. See? Striking the back of the head. That's... John Jones got DQ'd for hitting somebody in the back of the head. See? The first 4 things it teaches you are the 4 things that are effectively illegal in mixed martial arts. So... because they work. But, Anyway. Here's some other stuff. If a guy's hugging you, push on his chin. Hand in the face, walking balance, This reminds me of this technique I learned back in the day called the nose turn, where, you basically grab a guy's head and twist it, and it's quite unpleasant. I'll show it to you one day. Bum bum ba-da-dum bum bum bum. Yep. See? Here's how to kick a guy. Hey, you know what else is kind of funny? Kicking somebody barefoot and kicking somebody when you're wearing shoes is totally different. You know what I mean? If I'm wearing a good pair of shoes with a nice hard front and I kick you in the shin, that's totally different than me kicking you when I'm not wearing shoes, And the thing is, most of the time people are wearing shoes, maybe even boots, like in the winter, Anyway, see? Here's how to... Look, this guy's got a nice heel on his shoe, doesn't he? See? Scrape that down his shin, punt him in the, See? Look at that. Boom. Knee kick. Come to think of it, I think John Jones was doing this to some people in the UFC, and people are saying, you should make that illegal. I think, what's his name, Rampage was saying, you should make that illegal. My knee is still messed up. So, see? Effective, therefore, should be illegal. Does it work? Yes. But do you want to do it to your drunk uncle at the family barbecue? Maybe no. Maybe no. See, stomping on the back of the leg, stomping on the foot, And again, you'll notice they're wearing shoes, which is, in martial arts, pretty rare. Most martial arts, karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, taekwondo, muay thai, everyone's barefoot, And the thing is, most of the time, I don't know about you, but when I'm out and about, I look around, most people are wearing shoes, Anyway, whatever. Here's kicking a guy in the head while he's down, Stomping on him. See? And this, I don't know if this really qualifies as self-defense. Once your opponent's laying down, and your judge is asking you, hey, how come you kicked him in the head? How come you stomped on his ribs? And you're saying, self-defense? I don't know, man. I don't know. Chin jab. Chin jab with groin blow, see? Knee him in the groin and whack him in the chin with your fingers in the eyes. That's, Had a karate chop, back of the head, under the nose, kidneys. I don't know if that's terribly effective, but bear in mind when was this book written? What year was this book written? This is well before the UFC, so a lot of this stuff hadn't been What year was this book written? 1976. So, You know? Look at that. Chopping him in the back, chopping him in the tailbone. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Back of the neck, clavicle, wrist, bridge of the nose. That hurts. Getting chopped on the nose. You know? That would be maybe more of a hammer fist thing than, but whatever. Elbow in the face, you know? The hip throw. See, I don't know if Jigoro Kano is going to look at this picture and be like, that's a beautiful hip throw, but whatever. Whatever. What's this one? What's this? What's he doing there? Some kind of like elbow breaking shoulder throw kind of thing. Here he is doing a cross choke. His hands aren't really deep enough here, but, you know, I remember years ago, I was watching a mixed martial arts event where it was a jiu-jitsu guy, and I don't mean Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I mean like jiu-jitsu, like classical Japanese jiu-jitsu, I guess like a crazy karate guy, and they were both wearing kimonos. And the classical, or whatever you want to call it, the Japanese jiu-jitsu guy, he wasn't Japanese, but it's Japanese jiu-jitsu, walked up to the dude and tried to put him in a standing cross choke, and then the karate guy kneed him maybe 100 times in like every part of his body. And I never saw that guy, the classical Japanese guy, Japanese jiu-jitsu guy, I never saw him train again, you know? He had done a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but he was mostly like classical Japanese jiu-jitsu, and the other guy kneed him in the ribs like 100 times, literally 100 full-on knees to the ribs, you know? Yeah. So when a guy's in your guard, or if you're mounted, whatever, fine, standing, the potential to get kneed in the ribs or even poked in the eye or punched or whatever. Whatever. What's this one? So there you go. You come up behind a guy, you punch him in the kidney, and you choke him, you know? Not sure that qualifies as self-defense as much as, you know, eliminating a sentry or something, you know? I don't know. What's this one? Oh, look, it's the guillotine choke. Look at that. Fascinating. That works. Here's another one. This is, I don't know, I want to call this one the Dan Severn choke. He choked a guy with that back in like UFC like 3 or something. I don't quite do it like that. I put my hand the other way around, so it's like serving hors d'oeuvres. You know what I mean? So your forearm's down his back, and then the other hand's on top of it, you know? I was teaching it the other day. The students didn't know what hors d'oeuvres were. And I'm like, who doesn't know what hors d'oeuvres are? Whatever. Chin jab and trip. So it's kind of like an Osoto Gary, back with his chin jab and the fingers going in the eyes there. Down he goes, you know? See, that would be, you do that to a cat, that's self-defense. Boom! Take that! Stop touching my bum. You know? If a lady were to do that at a bar or whatever, to a dude who's touching her bum, down he goes, he spills his drink. Sure, that's self-defense. This one, reverse guillotining a guy who's sitting in a chair, maybe this isn't self-defense. You know? Maybe this one, a judge would frown upon that. Why were you breaking the neck of the guy sitting in the chair? Self-defense. Not so sure. Here's your classical wrist turn. Calling it the wrist throw. You know? People always say, but yeah, he can punch you with the other fist. But yeah, but this really hurts. I did this to a guy once years ago. This drunk guy and his 3 buddies accosted me, and I threw one guy to the ground with this. You know? And then turned to his 3 friends and said, does anybody else want a piece of this? And they were like, no, we don't. So, but I mean, whatever. I was big and kind of pissed off that day. They were smaller than me a little bit and kind of drunk and, you know, whatever. But there he is going down, you see? Whatever. There's a wrist lock. You know? I remember Fabio Gurgel taught this when I was in Sao Paulo. You know? And after the guy goes down, you can knee him in the face. See? You wrist lock him, and then he drops to his knees to avoid his wrist getting broken, and then you knee him in the face. You know? Whatever. Here's another one. You walk up behind a guy that's just sitting there watching a movie, and you clap him on the ears. You know? That sounds like, that's self-defense, isn't it? No! That's clapping a dude on the ears that's just sitting there. Whatever. And look at this one. Testicle blow. If you are standing beside an opponent, and for some reason, such as a difference in size, a direct blow to his neck or head is not advisable, try the following. Clench the fist of the hand next to him and swing it into his groin or testicle area. When he bends forward from the blow, use the edge of either hand on the back of his neck. Whatever. Yep. There you go. Defensive unarmed combat. Again, Gouging people in the eye. Fish hooking. You know? This reminds me of something from UFC, like, I don't know if gouging the eye was ever allowed, but I know if someone fish hooked, I think it was like, I don't know, Joe Charles and Keith Hackney or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting my UFCs mixed up. Beats me. See? Elbow to the ribs, knee to the groin, stomping on feet, you know, how to get it if someone's grabbing you and stuff, you know? Chin jab. Here's that. I don't know if the picture is so clear here, but that escaping the wrist thing over here, you know? Where you know, just the thumb is smaller than the four fingers, so you like, you know, bend it upwards. I don't know. It's not a great photo. It works, you know? Here's the double, same thing, reach to the middle, you know, and pull your hand up, you know? So the thumb is smaller than the four fingers, you know? Oh, here's some come-alongs, you know? Come along, come with me, I'm gonna take you to jail, you know? Yep. I don't know if I've ever seen a come-along work, you know what I mean? Like in like old police footage, you know? Usually police and someone laying on the ground with them kneeling on their head. They're not taking them anywhere, they're just holding them down, you know? There's an arm lock come along, you know? I don't know. If you've ever seen police successfully, you know, use one of these, put a note or whatever, comments in the thing below. I've never seen it. You know, not that I'm a cop, but I've watched a lot of, you know, these days on YouTube, there's all kinds of stuff, whatever. There's another forearm come along, rear clothing come along, you know? Like, how drunk does a person have to be for this to work on them? You know, head hold come along. Come with me as I'm twisting your neck, you know? Poking them, you know, neck pressure points. If you walk up behind somebody and do this to them, whatever. That's gonna be a fight, you know? Knife attack. There's a picture of a knife, the fighting knife, you know? Different knives, how to hold a knife, you know? You know? How to prepare yourself for a knife fight. Your knife's in your backhand. You're not out there, you're not fencing the guy, you know? Anyway, there's some various pictures, the hammer grip, the ice pick grip, you know? Knife throwing, body areas most vulnerable to knife attack. Because, you know, people don't generally just know what areas are vulnerable to knife attack. You got a neck, chest, belly, arm, you know? Whatever. Whatever. See, killing an enemy sentry, you know? Gotta walk by a dude and stab him there. Does that qualify as self-defense? No, but this book isn't about self-defense. It's about, you know, how to conduct yourself on the battlefield. Kill or be killed, you know? And how much of this translates to any kind of sportive martial art? None. Virtually none. You can't... Reading this book does not make you better at any sportive martial art. Judo, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, karate, none of that. Because everything he's teaching you is illegal. Because it works. Or, you know, it's when your life is on the line and you gotta, like, you know, be crazier than the other dude and be meaner than the other dude. Here you go. See, look, knife defense, you know? Throw your helmet at him, kick him in the knee, use a chair, shoot him, you know? There's a lot of stuff online these days about knife defense. And I've been in 0 knife fights, all right? 0. But there's a lot of stuff I see online where it's like just crap. The person's swinging their knife around and you're wrist locking them. Forget it. It's like trying to catch a bee. It's just, the knife's just flying around and stinging you. Bam, bam, bam. And you're, you know, whatever. I mean, the chair, maybe, the stick, I don't know. If I had a stick, I'd be back and just, the stick's longer than the knife. Stay away from him, crack him in the hand before he sticks you. Does that sound like, you know? Or kick him in the knee, although you're probably gonna get stabbed in the leg doing this. You know? If a guy has a knife, and again, I've been in 0 knife fights, stay the hell away from him. And, you know, maybe throw stuff at him. Bounce a can of soup off his face. See how he likes that. See if him and his knife like that. Parrying knife defense, yeah. I mean, maybe if your back's against a wall and you can't get away, you know, do this stuff, right? You know? Otherwise, stay the hell away from the guy and, you know, throw a rock at his face real hard, you know? Fastball, you know? Even an apple. Fastball an apple off his face. Bam! There you go. Enjoy some fruit, sir. This stuff, I think there's an excellent likelihood you're going to get stabbed. Real high. You know? Underhand thrust, you know? Forearm block. Forearm block. You know, like I just don't know if human, eye-hand coordination is good enough. The guy's coming at you with a knife and you're just like, bam! You know? Not too sure about that. But like I said, I've been in 0 knife fights, you know? But you want my advice? If someone pulls a knife on you, run away, throw things, you know? I don't think that's insane to say. Combat use of the handgun. Yeah, I'm not going to bother, There's a chapter on guns in here. The fallacy of defensive shooting. Okay, that's great. How to hold a gun and how to shoot a dude, all kinds of stuff, firing positions and stuff, like as this book proceeds, it becomes more and more about stuff that is way out there. Well, whatever. I guess, if you want to learn how to shoot a guy, although probably shooting, this book was written in like 1976. This information has probably changed dramatically. But I mean, look at this guy. He's like laying down. I mean, at least he's got some protection. The guy back there looks like he's dead. This guy's behind some, like, see, don't be here, be there, stuff how to hold a gun and where to stand. Maybe it hasn't changed. How to hit a guy with a gun, I don't know. The lightweight revolver, how to hold a gun, I like that they're dressed like they're going to, like, church in the 60s or something. You know what I mean? Whatever. This guy's sitting. He's just, like, casually shooting while relaxed against a tree. That's how I sit when I'm reading a book. Yet he's, whatever. This guy's squatting like he's pooping. I'm going to shoot you in the groin, sir. Whatever. More guns and guns and guns. I have never fired a gun in my life, which I guess is, I don't know. How to take it out of a holster, where to have a holster, the cross draw. This reminds me of that one scene from Breaking Bad where the guy's in the hotel buying a gun from the other dude in the jean jacket. You don't want to cross draw unless you're into playing cards. Combat firing with shoulder weapons. This is more guns. See? Now he's talking about, like, rifles or machine guns and stuff. How to hold machine guns, different kinds of machine guns. Disarming. This is if a guy has a gun on you, You suddenly want to turn and, you're probably just going to get shot if you're doing that. But if he's got it pointed at you, you swing your hand down and get the hell out of the way, Chop his hand out of the way, and then again, knee to the groin, chin jab, Chop his hand, get out of the way, knee to the groin, More of that. Remember that was that movie, The Irishman, that was out some time ago, and in it, Al Pacino was mentioning to somebody, like, if he's got a knife, run away. If he's got a gun, charge. That sounds like solid. If he's got a knife, you want distance. But if he has a gun and you're running away, he's just getting a better firing. Kick him in the groin, bounces. Anyway, there's me passing along self-defense information to you from whatever that movie was. He's got a shotgun to your back, you turn and whack it away, When the guy's pointing a gun at you, get behind something if you can. And if you can't, at least make sure the gun's not pointed at you. Otherwise the dude might shoot you, you know what I mean? Securing pistol from opponent. Ha-ha! Have at you! I wish I was that fast. Like that. I guess that's another scene from Breaking Bad where the two dudes are up in, like, the parking lot and the one guy snatches the gun away. That's probably something you got to practice. Karate chop him in the face, Prisoner handling and control. Various things. You want to make him lean against a wall and stuff and make him take his clothes off. Have a knife tied to your own forearm. Have a book with a gun inside it. You know what I mean? Handcuffing, how to handcuff people, how to tie their hands together and stuff, Me probably having this book has probably put me on some kind of watch list, but I assure you I'm not insane. I have no intention of tying up anybody. Bum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum. What's really insane is the place that sent me this book. This was one of their less crazy books. There were some other books in there that were like way out there, you know? Like, I forget what they were actually about, but it was like really crazy stuff, you know? Shooting through walls and doors, bulletproof vests and police shields, you know? Look at him. Hello there. You're there for a job interview or something, you know? Anyway, how to get through a room and stuff. Yep. Elementary fieldcraft. Oh, look, camouflage. Do you see the man in this picture? You know? Hiding behind rocks, hiding behind logs. Deception. An old Indian trick that often draws fire and discloses an enemy's position, you know? Racist to say that, you know? First Nations, thank you. You know? Don't peek up over rocks, you get whatever. Police baton and miscellaneous weapons. Again, here's a chapter on how to hit a guy with a stick. Whack him in the neck, whack him in the belly, whack him in the foot. You know? Whack him in the knee. Whack the knife out of his hand. When he has his hands folded behind his back, just whack him. Oh, wait a minute, no. You're using the wrist grip of the stick to, like, tie his wrists together. I don't know if that's going to be so easy, you know? Like, you know, the leather wrist strap? How do you get his... You put your hands in there. Basically, it's called handing the guy your stick, I think. Whacking him from a distance and stuff. Various other ways to whack people with sticks. You know? How to break somebody's arm with a stick and... You know? Choke him with a stick. He's trying to take your stick, you kick him in the knee and whack him in the groin or whatever from behind or something. Hey, do you like swing sets? This is a little like that, except totally different. You know? He's coming at you with some kind of wacky machete and you whack him in the hand. See? That's what I was talking about earlier when the guy's a knife. Don't try to wrist lock him with your stick. Just stand back and whack him. Whatever. Various types of other... I don't know what the hell that is. You know? Brass knuckles and things you can... I don't know what this is. But someone pulls one of those on me. I'm leaving that party. I've had my nachos. See you later, friend. You know? Chemical munitions for control of mobs and individuals. You know? That's something you gotta read a book about, isn't it? Maybe, I don't know. If you're reading a book about how to use chemical munitions, maybe there's things you've done earlier in your life that require, you know, review. You know? About things you've done that have led up to you being in that. How to wear a gas mask, you know? Various canisters, you know? This is the kind of thing maybe you find in your, like, grandpa's attic, you know? Nobody's, you know, whatever. This guy's firing a tear gas gun. Various other kinds of things you can shoot a gas or whatever. Wacky stuff. Wacky stuff. Let's see. What else we got here? Civil and domestic disturbances and their control. You know? The purpose of this chapter is to outline a number of general principles and basic precepts and to project some new ideas which can be adapted by a military or police force to its own situation to enable it successfully to cope with mob violence. Like when the Canucks didn't win the Stanley Cup, you know what I mean? They had to break out the fire hoses and stuff, and people were lighting cars on fire and breaking into stores and stuff, you know? Yep. Everyone's like, wet them down! They're spraying the hoses on them and stuff, and, you know? The professional riot control unit. You know? Yep. Craziness. Yep. Yepers. The problem with that, though, when the Canucks didn't win the Stanley Cup or whatever, is they had not enough transit to leave. Like, people were going downtown for hours and hours and hours, and then the game was over, and, like, there just wasn't enough transit to get the people out of town. You gotta wait 6 hours for, you know, your turn on a bus. I'm gonna break a window just to pass the time, you know? Well, I'm not gonna, but some people will, you know, before they go back to, you know. A lot of people that were there actually were from other parts of BC or even the States, so. But whatever, there you go. Anyway, there's Killer Get Killed by Colonel Rex Applegate, you know, full of plastic goggles, you know, the Iron Claw. Maybe that was the earlier thing. So, yeah. There you go. Killer get killed by Colonel Rex Applegate. You know? Nice, casual reading for, you know,